And hello everybody, welcome to Minecraft 1.12.2. We are back on a single player world. It's different from what you've seen me do in the last Minecraft videos. We are not in vanilla. We are using the Conquest Reforged mod, which gives us these awesome blocks right here. I am in creative mode. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to find a good spot, probably around here, to start building a medieval kingdom. I'm going to have to do some terrain fixing, such as stuff like this will need to be fixed, change out some of the sand to make the beaches look more realistic and stuff. The sounds you are hearing in the background are seagulls because we are so close to the sea and the waves as well. This is also a mod that is used just to enhance the game a little bit. So I'm going to find a spot, do some terrain editing, and then I'll be right back. And welcome back. I am back here showing you what I've done. There were a lot of holes and gaps for some reason on the Conquest Reforged mod. If you look at things like this, you'll notice there's a lot of gaps in the ground when generating. So what I've been doing is filling it up just to make the terrain look correct, because there's like a huge gap right here. And it wasn't supposed to be a cave or anything. If it was supposed to be a cave, then I'd keep it, but it was just more of a rendering error at the beginning of the when the map was being made by the Conquest Reforged mod. Anyways, if you look behind me, I drained all this water here and over here and turned a lot of the sand into dirt, mud, and some of these other random blocks. Just mainly so then when I'm building, there will be like a little more realistic, because the sand wouldn't come all the way up through here and all the way up. That's just Minecraft. If you look over there, that's exactly how it looks, but I just basically cut back some of the sand and stuff. So for now, we'll just be focusing on this. I'm going to add in a few trees, and hopefully I can get the replay mod working. If not, I'll have to figure out some other way to show you how I'm building things, maybe like pictures and stuff in progress or whatever. But what I'm planning is a outpost here with a tower up over here, since it overlooks the swampy area, and the swamp just goes on, and as well as the ocean as well. And if you look over at this side, it's more of a Mediterranean biome over there, while this is more of a forest, which is perfectly fine. It looks okay to me. So what I'm going to do is I'll be right back once I plant some more of these trees and put some shrubbery in. Then I'll show you what my plans are. So I'll be right back. And I am back. So what I've done is I made a palette over here of what I'd basically like to plan out, such as if I'm adding in a lake, that'd be down there, or a pond or something. This could be garden, like in a city or farmland. So I'm planning a farm like right over here with an outer wall which is red. The brown is the road, which we see is going up that way. Purple will be houses. I'm mainly doing that to separate like residential from like maybe market area, and then the structures or towers, which is not a house. So that's anything from like a blacksmith to a trader, guild, bank, tower, barracks, stuff like that. So over here, following this road, we're gonna come up to the small outpost that I would like to build up here. So this part right here would be the tower, the square. and this would be the barracks. And this would be the outer wall for like archery practice and just basic protection before getting into the actual guard tower and barracks. So that's pretty much what I'm planning right now. So yeah, I'm gonna start building things up, and I do have the replay mod working, and I'm able to render them. Took me a little bit to figure out how to get the thing to render without saying, oh, you need a certain program to render the video. So since that's all situated, I'm just gonna go over to third person view and just start building. So the first thing I did was get rid of the surrounding vegetation inside the zone I want to build the outpost and outside. Because one, it's harder to build with vegetation inside, and two, because they would clear out the surrounding area a little bit, so then they would have full view of any enemy sneaking up upon them. The next step is starting to build the outside wall surrounding the courtyard. As you can see, I'm initially using only one texture, one form of cobblestone, but then I'll switch to the replacer tool using World Edit mod and changing the textures of other blocks, making the wall look a little more worn down and give it a little bit of variance. As you can see, I'm filling in the ground right now, adding a little bit of texturing, but then I decide just to go with one texture for now, just so I can have it filled in, just so I know what it looks like. And I continue to work up on the wall, adding in the gate door. A couple times not really happy with the size of it, adding in the gate itself. I start off by building the rock on the outside of the wall to make the terrain looking like it blended in to the castle a little bit better, and also for defensive purposes to make it harder to climb up a wall on the side with the rock right there. My next step is to build up on the tower and the barracks house itself. The tower is a big square while the barracks house is a diagonal-ish building. As you see, I hollowed out the basement areas if needed, and starting to build up the walls for it. I was trying to figure out a stair design, which, as you see, I build up here, but later on off camera I'll remove that for more of a wooden stair design going up a wooden platform, which would be a little more realistic. That way they could knock it down to prevent people from going inside the keep itself. As well as the stairs, I also started on the crenellations design. I didn't really have a plan for going up and defending the wall itself from the top, as you see in most keeps and castles. I more felt that the arrow loops would be from the wall, from the ground itself, and that these were more just for the aesthetic designs, but at the end of the video you'll see I changed these out as well as the stairs. Realizing I didn't really have a good way up the keep without sacrificing a lot of interior, I decided to build a stair tower. Most stair towers in medieval keeps and castles were located at the rear of the keep. As I did here, I placed mine in the back left rear. At this point I started using a different textured diorite to make the keep and barracks house look a lot cleaner. If you look at medieval castles, you'll see that the bottom stone is very dirty and very old and very used, while towards the top of the walls and the building, the stone would be much newer, much polished. So that's the effect I was trying to go for here. Here you can see me starting to put on wooden supports for the roof to make it more secure. It took a little bit to build up the roof, but I was very happy with how it turned out. Though it's not shown on the camera, I was doing some work interior and also adding in windows to the attic part of the roof of the barracks house. My first goal was to have the stair tower go all the way up to the roof, but then I realized that there would be no way for me to order the guards to guard the rear of the castle, so you'll see me build it up for now with adding crenellations on the roof, but you'll also see me later on in this video change it. The stair tower will actually end partway down the keep, and then there'll be internal stairwells inside, which will sacrifice some internal rooms space, but I think it just makes it flow a little better. Also, a change that you'll see later on is the size of the barracks house. You'll see I'll expand it to just about the wall of the stair tower. So I'm working on the path going up to the gatehouse. As you can see, there's nothing currently going up to the door. But what I decide to do for now is a too wide path. I'll probably expand it later on off camera, or in the next episode that you see a time lapse of. Thinking about having this guard a small settlement, and then building a city nearby with big city gates and stuff. Like this would be like an outside guard area where people would go if there's a threat. Kind of like until the city can go to help them. Kind of like a safe area, safe haven. So this is the first example of battlements that you'll see me try. It won't be the final product, but just getting ideas on how people could guard the gate beside those arrow loops on the right and left hand side, which I'll later get rid of. The common misconception with arrow loops is a lot of people call them arrow slits. That's not what they were. They were called arrow loops in medieval times. As you can see, I'm having trouble designing a jut out from the building. These jut outs are seen often a lot on houses and buildings in medieval times. It makes it look very realistic, at least to me, and it gives, at least as a builder, a little more room on the inside to add in more decorations or whatever I want to add in on the inside of the building. I just like how they look personally. So the camera zooms in for the internal workings of the keep. As you'll see, I'll do the internal structures like the stairs and everything, but I won't be doing the internal decoration. That will be done off camera. The basement of the tower will be turned into a dungeon area with 3 holding cells. You'll see that later on in the video. Here is where I start to expand the Barracks House. I'll do it a few times so it's not the final product of the expansion of this building. This jut out that you're seeing me build out of the Barracks House was initially going to be another stair tower into the Barracks House itself, because those were going to be 2 separate buildings, as my original intent was to have it that if the Barracks House fell, the tower would still be defendable. But later on, it just became too much of a pain to build another stairwell. So the the main floor of the Barracks House is going to turn into the privy, and then the second floor is going to turn into a bedroom. You'll see that later on. As I'm getting used to using the replay mod, you'll see me doing more inside work, such as putting in the floors and the beams and the ceilings to the building. But unfortunately, like everything else, this is going to change because of how I choose to change the building itself. I'm still trying to figure out the stairway and trying to figure out a way to make it work, and this is before I've decided to change that little jut out into separate rooms. Believe it or not, this was one of the harder parts of the build, trying to get this part of the roof of this tower to work and be blending in with the roof of the main building. And with the expansion of the building, the roof had to be moved over a little bit. So you see me finishing that up. So I decided that now would be the time to delete the crenellations and expand the tower into a different type of tower, as you'll see when it's done building. With the size of the roof that this tower has, it's pretty imposing from the ground, as you'll see later. Changing up the defensive wall a little bit, I'm adding a tower here that will eventually lead to the battlements that are the wall. With the current battlement, I couldn't put the railing against the wooden planks, so I decided to leave that alone and then move over to the tower where I can work on some jut-outs to make the tower look a little more than one-dimensional. As you can see, I'm trying to work on a circle jut out over on the opposite side of the rear of the tower. My goal is to build a office for the Lord Knight, because this place is a place for landed knights. It's not really a lord from a family. It's more of a knight who is given title to defend this part of the land. This would be where they live, where the knight and his men live. So what this is going to be is the office of the Lord Knight, who basically is in charge of this small keep. As you can see, I'm also working on texturing now, with just like the regular tower and everything else. I want to make it look a little worn out, a little old. Now we are moving back to the rear of the castle where I'll build an overlook from the main hall to the swamp where the servants, the men, and the lord can look out at the swamp from behind the castle. And now we'll switch over to first person where I'll show you around and you'll see the differences that I did off camp. And welcome back. The tower is complete, as you saw from the time lapse. I did make a few changes, such as the battlements. I added this in, and I'll show you when we're up there. So in here, there are some places for horses in here, and also in there as well. You can close up and they're safe in there. While in here, there's horse feed, some supplies, and some stuff. It's not really that big of a castle or anything. It's more like a small keep for landed knights. Not sure if I want to add in a well or anything since we're so close to the water. They could just boil it. So coming in here, yeah, we'll come in here first. So this is the main hall in here. Added in a moose head and a small exit out to this balcony you saw me build, as well as the Night Lord's office where he does all his things. I probably need to add in some more like decorations and stuff, like maybe places for scrolls or whatever. They don't really have a lot of food, as you can see. This is really a big area, but in here we make our way into the kitchen, a pretty small kitchen. Armor stand, a little bit of decoration, and the privy. I did this off camera. I added this in and built it in off camera. We will fly around later and take a look at it. Up here is a bedroom for the servants and maybe the knight's men. A little lounge area and more beds in here. As we continue on up the tower, there's another bedroom in here as well, with a place for people to sit in front of the fireplace and look out. Coming up this staircase here, we come to more bedrooms for the Knight's men. As you can see, there are a pretty good amount of people here with a balcony that overlooks this area. Gonna have to do some terrain modifications over there as well. And then coming up here is the way to the Night Lord's chambers. You can see it's much bigger than all the others, has more of a view. more of a place to sit down and relax, with a little waiting area outside. And then if you keep going up, go up to the top of the tower where some of the guards relax up here while they're keeping a lookout for anything out of the way. So we will go back down. And I'll show you the outside of the also down here is the dungeon. They have cells for those who they are imprisoning. You can see a little bed, a little bucket for like going to the bathroom, and that's pretty much it down here. There isn't really much. They have locked doors and everything. But as we come out, as you can see, I changed the battlements and everything. I made it more covered. Well, we can come in through here in this little small tower I built. Little murder holes for when people are really close to the wall attacking. You can throw down rocks or shoot arrows down through there. And then to get up to this next one, you just need to climb right on up here. And they have the same things here. Really, the most defended area of this keep is the main entrance. Because there isn't really another way in, except for like maybe right here. But they would board this off and probably have some archers up here, which would make it very hard to get up into. So I'll probably do one last quick fly around, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time.